31 years experience at Chattanooga, NC State, and how many years at Kentucky?
13 this year.
13 years. And where else? Oklahoma?
Yeah, I'm gonna go through all of that
Okay.
in the background of all of that.
All right, I'm gonna let him do that.
That has a lot to do with how I formulate this philosophy that we're gonna talk about. Yeah.
All right, big hand. Yes.
Better hands to Coach, because this is actually the first time I've done a clinic. I usually don't do clinics a lot, and there's reason for that as I get into my presentation, but I like one-on-one. And I say that to say, anytime that you feel the need to talk shop, whatever, come down, visit. My weight room is always open. You know, I'm always open. Now, it's kind of hard to get me on the phone because I'm always working. So text me like he understood. It's hard to get me on the phone, but it's about one-on-one sharing, and it's about mentoring. And the reason that I'm starting off with this is how I progress in the profession, okay? I know my topic's gonna be about practical application, power speed, okay? But before you can understand that, you have to understand the context of where I'm getting all this information from, okay? How do I get to the point where I can formulate a proper program, and a very simple program without being simple, you know, if you understand me on that. And one thing that when I started off in this profession, basically I started out because I needed rent money. Let's be honest, I'm just gonna be real on here. I just needed some rent money, so I asked Coach, hey, how can I help out in this football camp right now to be able to pay my rent? And so that's when the coaching passion took off, being able to work with young people and developing young people, okay? Now, the blessed part about that is I had the opportunity at a very young age to be able to go work at University of Tennessee at Chattanooga as a football coach, okay? Did a halfway decent job where the head guy came to me and said, look, you do a marvelous job of coaching. So what I want you to do now is I want you to take over my whole team by taking over my weight program, okay? So you ask yourself, okay, I'm having a little anxiety attack here. So you want me to take over the weight program? I've never done that before in my life. But understanding this, and I'm gonna show you all this, how it comes together and how it has helped me progress as a strength coach. Now, my major in college was in engineering, industrial engineering. That was my major. And back then, you majored in engineering because everything was becoming back then automated, just like everything is now. Artificial intelligence is moving toward that. So if you wanted to have a job in factories, you got into engineering. And that's what's my job. And in engineering, we learned about overuse syndrome, carpal tunnel syndrome, things such as that, okay? How do we get people to be productive working within a factory without breaking down their bodies? This is what we learned in ergonomics, okay, in engineering class. And I decided one day, hey, I like this coaching thing. I'm not doing this engineering thing. I'll say, okay, just put my stuff together, give me a degree so I can go coach. And that's what the whole thing started. Okay, and that's what the what I say the science background started from that, and now I had to go back and pick up the physiology portion of what we're doing. I say all that to say, when I started at Chattanooga and I researched out, and I wanted to be good at this thing, how can I be very good at being a strength coach? I want to be the best. I want to be able to develop the kids. I want to give the kids my best. Okay, so this is how these worlds kind of collide. My roommate at the time was playing for the New York Giants. And his strength coach at the time was a guy named Al Miller. Okay, I don't know if you know Al Miller. Al Miller had been in his profession a very long time. Was an Alabama strength coach, Giants, Denver, Atlanta Falcons, those type of deals. And I said I wanted to talk to someone who not only got their players strong, fast, and resilient, and I wanted to make sure they were healthy. So he said, hey, you might want to look at what my strength coach here at the Giants is doing. He says, this Al Miller guy, he is fantastic in how he does things, okay? So that's how my philosophy got started. And when I looked at it and he taught me Al Miller's program, it was full of starting things up, glute ham hypers and Olympic lifts, okay, and squats and all the static lifts. It was very simple program. And you see where I'm going with this. He did not have a lot of meat on the bone. A very simple program. And it's at the time at Chattanooga, I only had a 1,500 square foot weight room. So I had to be able to utilize and get the most out of my athletes with the less amount of equipment and space. Okay? And when we injected Al's program, and I didn't know a lot about it, but and you'll say to yourself, okay, well, you're doing something cookie cutter. Well, when cookie cutter is kind of good, you might want to follow it a little bit, okay? So I didn't know what I was doing at the time, so I followed this program. And as I moved and as I implemented, I started learning now, okay, I understand why he did this, why he did that. At the time, I left Chattanooga and I went to Oklahoma. Now, when I got to Oklahoma, I met this young man named Jerry Smith. And Jerry Smith, if you know anything about him, came from the Nebraska Husker Power, okay? Now you see where I'm going with this. Husker Power, now you're getting this Al military based upon this Husker Power tree, and they're about to collide at Oklahoma. And we sit down and we collaborate. Okay, these are some of the things, Coach, I see that works from where I've come from. In development, we're 1AA at the time, okay? And we had guys who have probably never played football before. So now not only that we have to get these guys athletic, okay, and strong and fast, now we have to teach these guys really how to play football. Okay, now he's coming under Husker Power, and you know the legacy of Husker Power and what they have done, and now these two collide. And what happens out of that union? Well, basically we win the national championship in 2 years, okay? And we go to 3 more after that. So something was going right. And now I had the programming, I had what we were doing, but I didn't truly have an understanding why things were working. Okay, we were just implementing, but we didn't know what was working well. Because one thing I found out about that is, make sure that I journal everything that we're doing, so you can go back and discard what is not good and keep the things which are good. The blessed part about it is not only did we win games, but we had 99% of our players available for all those championship runs. 99%. They were strong, they were fast, they were healthy. Okay? Now stay with me. I'm going to take you down this road and understand exactly how we get to this simplistic plan. Okay? Now, if you go to University of Arizona, which they had a struggling program at the time. Okay? And like I said again, I wanted to be good at what I do. So I searched out people who were very good at what they did. I said, okay, football, we deal with a lot of shoulder issues. We did a lot of shoulder problems. So I've heard of this guy named Eric Cressy. Eric Cressy, who's now, I think, the performance coach of the New York Yankees. He wasn't that 20 years ago. He was just the shoulder guy. So I said, let me bring the shoulder guy out to Arizona and allow him to teach me all these different things about not only screening and not only how to make your shoulders and upper body more resilient. So I brought Eric in. And Eric, I happened to bring a guy in named Carl Valley. Okay, and we had about 12 hours, we hashed out how to keep those shoulders strong and healthy with your athletes, along with some other training thought. And Carl made a point to me. He said, Ed, you do some very good things here, but I think this guy that you need to talk to will help you put everything that you're doing in perspective. He'll give you the philosophy you need to bring everything together. And this guy was named Dan Paff. And I flew Dan out. And I had Dan, I said, Dan, sit me down and show me. So now he started bringing out these words like CNS training, neuromuscular adaptations, fascia. All these things now you're probably seeing online that is selling and that's blowing up the internet. Postural integrity. Okay? Movement screening. Developing a coaching eye to watch movement, to see movement. Okay? To correct movement. Understanding now what creates wrong and right movement. And then that, and bringing Dan in, and also understanding what he would call trackside therapy. Now, I'm what they call a bootleg massage therapist. I mean, I know enough to get by. But Dad taught me enough and said, hey, if you have a guy that's dealing with this problem on the track, this is how you want to fix it. And this is how you want to get correct movement. Okay? So I moved from Arizona, NC State for a short time, and then I get to Kentucky. And when I get to Kentucky, I was told to, hey, if you want to understand to get the most out of your athletes, to develop your athletes, to get your athletes fast and strong, you need to talk to this guy named Bruce Schexner. He said, if you talk to this guy, he'll get you where you need to go. And you see where I'm going with this. Mentor here, who's an expert. Mentor here, who's an expert. Mentor here, who's an expert. And you're taking all these things and you're putting them into one pot and you're developing for yourself as a philosophy. And the reason I want to say that is because you don't want to just pull programs off and just do programs without understanding exactly how they work and how they can benefit your players. You can train athleticism. I know there's some people that are very genetic freaks. Absolutely, we deal with those. But we have to be better at developing and creating better athletes. So when we talk to Boo's main emphasis on what he called intermuscular integration, he says you won't find that word anywhere, okay? But he says we're gonna get our guys more athletic, more coordinated, okay, in what they're doing. And now he breaks me down and I understand the whole philosophical mindset going back to Al Miller and why he was doing the things that he was doing. Now there was an understanding because I researched every single person who was an expert in their field and brought it all together. See, it's like a nice soup. You know, we've been up north, you know how to make a good soup. And you put all these different ingredients in it. And I had all the ingredients in the soup, but you know that if your spices are off, you know, the soup, it couldn't be filling, but it just doesn't taste good. When I brought these other guys in here, it made the soup taste good. And I want to give you an understanding of this has been over 25 years of developing this thing and gathering all this information and reading and understanding the body, understanding the central nervous system and how it works so you can create better athletes. Okay? So now, you ask yourself, you've gone through that history, what does it all mean? What it means is you can take all that information and deduce it down to just a simple program. And I'm just going to go over simply what we do on a daily basis, okay? Now, for those of you, you may do Monday through Friday workouts. Some of you may do what we call a basic split, okay, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday being a recovery day. And I'm going to kind of take you through exactly what we do. And it's very simple. And in teaching each area of what we do, I'm going to give an explanation where doing one thing could hit a lot of problems that you're dealing with your athletes. Okay? Every day. Doesn't matter, Monday through Friday. If we're doing a split or not, I'm just going to work on the split routine. We're going to start off with some type of mobility. Usually, we're going to do a hurdle mobility. We start off with a hurdle walkover. Backwards, forwards, underneath, down. Now, it may not be the tumbling part, but it gives the same deal. Now, I may introduce some tumbling, okay? With that, hey, come out the hurdle, let's tumble a little bit. Because remember, we used to tumble back in the day. It was something called mat drills back in the day, okay? So this is not foreign. Okay, when I played, we go in the mat room and we'll do mat drills, we'll tumble, we'll roll, we do monkey rolls, we do seat rolls, we do all types of roll, okay, to teach us how to fall correctly on the football field. All of a sudden now that's got into a gut session. So maybe we need to get back to that. Okay, I'm saying we're going to talk real about these things today. So we'll start off each workout with just some mobility walkovers. We may go backwards. We may go underneath with a turn. And right there, I'm doing movement screens. I'm watching guys as they move. What do their hips do? What does their posture do? Do they sink as they go over the hurdle? Okay, this is going to give me valuable feedback. Okay, how do they hit the ground? Can they hit the ground flat foot, extend the posterior chain, and get the hips up high? That's my movement screen. And if you're working for me, I ask all my interns and all my employees, you better lock yourself into our warm-ups and understand what the problems are and what they're doing. Because they can give you a lot of bombshells that's going to happen down the road. Okay? Now, we may go from a movement screen to some type of mobility, whether it be leg swings, iron cross, scorpions, 90-90s, whatever you want to throw in there. It's unlimited, okay? Then we go back to hurdles. And the reason that I'm doing it this way, because much as you may have and you're training, you got a lot of ADD athletes. I'm the only one that deals with athletes that don't have an attention span. Okay. Only thing I have to do on hurdle mobility, I hit play on the music. Coach talked about rhythms. Listen to the rhythms of the music. They listen to the rhythm, boom, 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 however BPMs you want to do, boom, 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 and they learn rhythm and how to move through space. Just about me putting out hurdles and turning on some music. And now they're engaged because they're not doing it cognitively. You know, I don't know the songs every day, but hey girl, get down the street, walking out, yeah. It has a cognitive effect. It teaches them down movement without having a thought process, so they're not robotic or mechanical. Okay? We go from there. We go from hurdle mobility. We go to some type of ground-based mobility. You choose it. You pick. Go online. You can find any type of ground-based mobility that you have. Then we go to something. We may do some band prep. Okay? Everybody likes that. I give them things they like. We may, quote-unquote, get the glutes fired up. We may do some band walks, things like that. Yeah, coach, I'm feeling that in my glute. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to feel that. So then we'll move to what we call a hurdle skill, where now you know that you can't go mobility going fast. So mobility has to be trained slow. Now I want to move to a hurdle skill. Now we go back to that rhythm factor. Now we're going to do some hurdle drills where now we're working balance and rhythm. Now we're progressing this thing. So we're building the workout up. Okay, so now we're going from warm to hot on the workout. Okay, now here's a key point. We may do some type of form drills, whether it be A switching. You can see online these things, whether it be some type of straight leg, some type of running drill. Not for running drills in themselves, but showing guys movement in space. These guys have to learn how to move within space. So don't say, I can't teach running drills. Go online and learn your coaches. Educate yourselves on these. If you can't educate, if you don't know, go seek out a track coach. And people say, well, running drills are not going to make you fast. I'm not doing it to make me fast. I'm doing it to learn to see how guys move in space. That's all. How do they strike the ground? Okay? When they strike the ground, before they strike the ground, do they plantar flex prematurely? Or they don't stay in dorsiflex? Because if I see that in a warm-up, guess what happens when it goes full speed? Okay? The foot comes to the ground, the foot goes out prematurely, they get out in front of it. Look, watch my hips, watch my hips, watch my hips. What does it do? Sink. My pelvis sinks, I end up grabbing the ground. Just by you taking 4 minutes out of the day to do some type of form run where you do a movement assessment. I think they call that motor learning. So I'm going to take all these great terms, I'm just going to break them down to the simplest terms. Hurdle mobility, ground-based mobility, hurdle skill, along with a little glute activation, run drills. Got one of my interns here. How long does it take us to do all that?
20 minutes.
Tops.
Yeah.
Tops. During the course of a workout. Tops. And the reason it takes long sometimes when guys are learning it, it's a little bit longer when guys know what they're doing. As soon as I press play, they see hurdles, they look, I show them, they start it off. Because the less I talk during the course of a workout, the better they get. Because don't say that you want your guys to be leaders, but you don't allow them to lead during the workout. I don't need to be talking all the time. I'll just give them the points I'm looking for. Hit the ground flat, pelvis up, roll. Posture, posture. I may throw some things out, and they'll coach each other. So don't tell you want your guys to be leaders and don't let them lead during the course of a workout. And then when you do that, you'll find other guys say, hey man, coach wants you to make sure you get your pelvis up and through. If you can't do it, just feel like yourself, squeeze your glute. They end up teaching one another. That's when you develop leadership and the right type of culture. Hey man, you need to do this. Hey man, he's looking for this. Hey man, when he said dorsiflexion, you got to keep them ankles cocked, man. And that's how you do it. And then, I don't care where we are, what we're doing, if it's basketball, football, playing cards, we're going to do accelerations, period. We're going to do accelerations. Something as simple as 3x10, 3x20, 3x30. If you're not good at teaching acceleration, put them on a hill. Because a hill can self-teach you how to get your thighs through horizontally. It'll teach you. If you don't know what you're doing, put the kids on the hill. If you want intensity from your kids, put them on the hill beside one of his partners and let them race one another up the hill. The hill is going to show you exactly where you need to be in acceleration patterns. So you can't use, I don't know how to teach speed training. And then here's our thing. If we're going to sprint and accelerate horizontally, we're going to match it with a horizontal jump. So the body at a neural level understands, okay, this is what you're trying to do today. Okay, we're doing a horizontal. Okay, I can get with that. So we're going to do some type of jumps. Long jumps. We do them all the time back in the day. You just stand here, hips through, jump as long as you can. And all of it goes together, pelvis through and acceleration. Now I know I'm giving you a simplistic version of it. I teach some things within that, but when I have my freshman guys come in, that's all we do. And they get better at it. So what I say, mobility, warm up, motor learning, sprint, jump. Now how many minutes are we on now?
25.
About 35 minutes. The whole workout. I've knocked out all these bombshells, looking at all these things, teaching them motor learning within 35 minutes. Okay? Then we get into weight room. Now you know I'm a Al Miller guy, so I got to do some complexes. I'm going to do some type of clean complexes, snatch complexes to get right. What that is just we're doing a set of movements or exercise, and Al did it sometimes for conditioning, you know, but he would do high pulls, muscle cleans, okay, good morning, squat press, bent rows. Just kind of an activation to get guys going, okay? And we'll start off with that. Then we go into our Olympic lifts. Gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, you can go online and you can put all the Olympic lifts on one deal and choose it. Give them diversity. Diversity in the workout promotes athleticism. Change it up. And the reason I say that, you don't want to be a coach just watching the same old stuff every day. You want to change it up. So give them diversity in the workout. Usually I'm going to pick a workout or Olympic lift that's going to match what we do. So if Mondays we're doing acceleration development, probably I'm going to do something from the floor. Some type of RFD work, something that allows me now to come here and get through from my hips from this position. Vice versa, if I'm doing some top speed, I'm going to do probably more vertical type lifts. So I can do a clean, I can do a snatch, okay? Some of that nature. That's what we do. Now, here's a question that comes up. Coach, I don't know how to teach cleans or snatches or anything else. I want to hear that. These guys are athletes. These ladies and guys are athletes. They're going to figure it out.
don't load the bar. They won't hurt themselves. So the only thing you have to say, okay, pick the bar up and catch it. Coach, you want me to do it like this? Yeah, just get elbows through next time. Okay, you want me? Yeah, you got it. And when they begin to get the movements, they'll continue to progress with those movements. And then you can teach more the intricacies of this is how it applies to what you're doing on the field. But don't tell me I don't know how Olympic lifts, so I'm not going to teach it. These guys are smarter than what you think. They're athletes. They're going to figure it out. If we snatch from the ground, Coach, how you going? Go dunk the basketball. What? Take the weight and go dunk the basketball. Oh, you mean like this? You got to be smart as coaches and not go into a weight room with PhD verbiage. You need to take your PhD mindset and break it down to something they can understand. And it's something that's tangible to them. Because if they can understand it and they know what they're doing, they're going to be intense at it. Remember, Boo once told me, he said, intensity is not what you write on the card. Intensity is what the athlete puts into it. Then we're going to move from there to our static lifts. We're going to get a squat. We're going to get some type of press, whether it's overhead military press, or it's a bench press, or an incline press. Diversity is your key. You can choose from any. You can go dumbbell overhead, dumbbell press. Just change it up and give them different ranges of motions and what they're doing things. It's that simple. Because you got to ask yourself, do you want to be simple and strong or complex and weak? Because you can't be both. You cannot be both. So you can say, well, Coach, what if I, did some, do you recommend single leg cleans? Why? Unless the guy's hurt or something. Just pull it down away from the floor. Pull it fast, pull it good. That's it. It's not rocket science. And in making those movements and creating those movements, the athleticism is going to come. Because when you add the sprint with the weight training, now all of a sudden they become even more coordinated. And when they become even coordinated from the sprinting and the training, you see how I'm kind of interchanging this thing? So get out of the arguments, well, we got the strength training to get faster and faster to get strength. They help one another. They help one another. People, I cannot simulate anything in the weight room. Y'all smart people out here. If I'm sprinting at top speed, had guys running 22, 23 the other day. If I'm sprinting at top speed, force plate, how much force am I putting in the ground? Probably, guesstimation, at top speed. Probably what, 3 times body weight? Probably 700 pounds of force. Where can I simulate that in the weight room?
Okay.
Speak to me. How can I simulate that in the weight room? If I'm putting 700 pounds of force in the ground when I'm sprinting, guess how that's going to transfer to these guys moving weight, i.e. my big guys. I had one of our centers, Eli Cox. We did sprint, flow, sprint. Yeah, I do athletic stuff for my big guys. Okay? They're big athletes. That's what we call them. That's how we massage them. You're big athletes. You're big athletes. You're big athletes. And we did 3 because after 3 it's going to go down. That's what GPS helps us do. And he did all 3 in about 19.1 to 19.4. He came in the weight room and we lift. Wait about 5 or 10 minutes. We transitioned and we lift. Coach, I'm shot. And right then there is a training mentality. He's telling you right now, those 3 runs hit my CNS like no other. Okay? And I have to give him a little time to recover. But he's trying to tell me nothing I've done in the weight room can simulate what my legs, my booty, my hamstring feel like right now from doing those 3 sprints. And yeah, he came in later and did 500 pounds, a set of 5, squat his ass to the 12-inch marker down to the ground. And feeling good about doing it. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're trying to understand. Your weight rooms, when I come in, should look chaotic, because every day, once they learn something new, throw something different at them. That now teaches them, okay, I got to readjust, I got to re-coordinate. Now the brain is continuing growing, that myelin is growing and growing and growing. And they learn how to be even more coordinated, because now you're throwing different things. Just when they think they got it, okay, today we're going to clean below knee. So now you got to coordinate that up. Or we're going to do power position. Boom, we're just going to pop hips today. It now changes up the mental process. Let me move forward, hasten, before I run out of time. Second day, we're going to do some type of max velocity technical work. So we'll put on pants, we'll do all types of running forms, we'll do A runs, we do A double skips, we do A switches, okay, we do fast leg. Okay, now you say that, well, coach, this sounds something like a track workout. Well, it pretty much is. But I pull some of that stuff from that because it helps our big guys with coordination. Okay, I'm gonna do the Baptist preacher thing. When I get funny looks, then I gotta give an illustration. Okay, when we teach acceleration, can y'all see me there? Teaching low heel recovery, bring your thighs through. Okay, stand low to the ground. I'm gonna go through our positions. O-line, back that up. Low heel recovery, heel down to the ground. Now you're just doing it in reverse. Okay, DBs, or excuse me, wideouts. If you're trying to run and you're going high knee like this, you got to come back balance to be able to make a move. You accelerate with low heel recovery, you can make a move right now and still accelerate out of it. These now, how we're teaching the sprint drills, how it transfers over to what we're going to do on the football field. Limb speed. If I can get the center running at 19.3 miles per hour and get his limbs coordinated, this is easy. Skill acquisition becomes easier when he learns how to coordinate his limbs at high speed. It becomes easier. So we'll move from our form run to straight leg bounds. Now, depending on the position, my bigs won't go as far as my skill guys. Skill guys will get up to 60 or 90 meters, alternating, speed bounding down the field. So don't tell me we have hamstring issues. Don't tell me we don't know how the hamstring works at high speed. Isometric reactive. Okay, I could have saved the NFL $5 million for doing a study saying that, well, the problem with hamstring injuries is asymmetry and boom. Overuse and mechanics. Teach guys the right way to move in space, and you'll get a greater return, greater bang for your buck. Reason I know that is we're dealing with this same coach, same problem. You get different guys coming in every year now. NIL has changed the deal. So now we're getting different guys from different programs that may be at different levels. And if guys aren't used to high-speed sprinting, you're going to get some issues because they're going to throw their head back, and this is how they're going to run. And you have to be patient. Now when you bring guys in, you have to start them on what we call a beginner program with the mindset to get them to where they need to be as a starter. Because they've come in, if they come into your program, they're coming in to play. So you have to do whatever you got to do to get them to play. Same thing, okay? Let's move on. We go in the weight room after our max velocity development day, and we'll do some other type of Olympic lifts. You say, well, coach, you're doing back-to-back Olympic lift? Yeah. I'm going to drain that CNS, because remember, we got Wednesday off. So I'm going to do another Olympic lift. I may change it up there. I may do a snatch. I may do a single-arm dumbbell snatch. Okay? But I'm going to continue to reinforce that movement and get them to move weight overhead and in space. Okay? And then I may do some step-ups. Some type of single leg exercise. And then whatever upper body exercise I did the day before, if I did chest, and incline or whatever, I may do shoulders the next day. Then we get a day off. Now at the end of the week is where it starts to get dirty. I'm gonna throw some resistance on. Same warm up as Monday. Now we're gonna do some resistance runs with our accelerations, okay? So we may do 20, 12 to 15 sets of anywhere from 20 to 40 yards in resistance runs. And we're gonna learn how to push the ground. Because remember, when we put a weight on, it's gonna show a guy how kinesthetically he needs to move in space and how he needs to have his limbs in space. You understand that now? That's what I'm gonna continue to harp on. You gotta help these guys feel what it feels like in space, because with not anything on, they can't feel. They don't know how the limbs move. That's where the motor learning coordination factor goes in at. And then we'll come in the weight room then, and on those resistance days, we'll do what we call capacity jumps. We'll do 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off. Okay? You say, well, what are capacity jumps? You choose something. Star jumps. Sorry, I'm not a great athlete anymore. Pogos. Lunge jumps. Ski jumps, whatever you call them. We do multi-directional jumps. Choose whatever you want. But they do it for capacity now, getting the body used to be able to amortize, absorb, and push. To load and push. Then Friday, we call it our Fast Friday. We're gonna do the same warm-up type as we did on Tuesday, because remember, we do work in upright postures. We work in top speed, okay? And we're gonna get our top speed runs in. We may do anywhere from 3 to 5. The one great thing about having a GPS, I get real time on my GPS. Guy comes by, 21 miles per hour. Coach, did you watch him on that run? Yeah, tight, whatever else. Well, get whatever you need trackside to get him right so that run can increase. Crank on whatever you need to crank on, okay? Comes back later. 22.2. Crank on whatever else you need to crank on. Okay, he gets back up now to 23. Okay, now we understand what we need to do. He said, well, why would you do that? Anybody familiar with NASCAR? They do laps, right? And the guys on the, because I pull this from everywhere. I don't just don't do strength coaching and all this. I pull from every genre. NASCAR. Johnny, what you do on the first lap? Yeah, that was so-and-so on the first lap. I feel these tires aren't where they need to be. Change the tires, do another lap. Change something he's doing, do another lap. It's all about how fast can you do it on each lap and giving feedback on what's wrong. Understand how all this stuff goes together. And then we'll go back and we'll do some type of plyo that works with what we're doing speed-wise that day. We'll do bound. We're gonna bound at least 2 times a week. We're gonna do it, especially for our skill guys. And then we go in the weight room, we're gonna get some fast pulls. Fast pulls, we keep it simple, we keep it light, because understand, just by me lighting up the weight, I can get the speeds that I want, and I can get the adaptation that I want. Because how do we adapt? Either we gotta pull something heavy or pull something fast. That middle ground usually kind of messes you up. You're gonna run fast, okay, you're gonna run light, but you can't run in that middle ground. And then Friday, we squat. Because why? We did a speed session, okay? Now we're gonna come squat. Guess what? We're gonna have to have 2 or 3 days off before we can do that again. And the greatest thing, that's why I say I steal. I heard you that loud and clear. I'm a thief. I'm stealing from everybody, okay? So when we squat, we do band squats. I stole it from Louis Simmons, I tell you. Because there's something about a guy who, hell, got the best squatters in the world. The strongest squatters in the world. He's doing something right. But here's what, when we do band squats, I never understood this. I'm trying to get my track and field people to understand this. You can put blue or green bands on, put about 175, 185 on the bar, and tear these kids a new one. And guess what? It's so safe that now when you get to the most vulnerable point, it deloads. So now they can come out fast, push through fast, and now where the resistance come? At the top. Now you science guys can deal with them, you know, speed strength curves and all that. You can handle that. I know it works. It deloads, and it keeps our guys strong and explosive, and it keeps our guys healthy. Coach was really one that said that chasing 2.5 increments on a bar is not going to help me get faster. But I can chase speed up underneath the bar to allow me to get faster. So I can change those bands, don't matter the weight, because Simmons them had bench presses. We do it on bench press as well. You got guys benching 700, 800 pounds, but it would only do 185 with bands on it, pushing it fast. I can get guys strong without having to blow up their shoulders and use a lot of crazy weight. Dang, I need to package that. Isn't that what we want? Our guys strong, but to keep them safe. That's why we're proponents of bands. And when guys take the bands off, we throw some weight on the bar, what happens? Oh, coach, oh man, feels good. I can just throw the weight up. And they're moving the bar with speed. And I'm not against your, velocity-based training, but I just created some hell of a velocity right there just by putting that resistance on it. And why does it make sense? Well, hell, you want them getting fast in acceleration, you put resistance on the sled, right? Correct? Why not do the same thing in your weight equipment? Why not do a bench and band squats? You can eliminate any issues that you have. I don't have to load. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen here, I tell you what, I don't load the bar usually past 400 pounds in squatting or 315 in bench. I don't. And my guys are strong. What they do is they get faster at what they're doing. And then we change it up. We close grip a little bit. We change it up. They're hell strong without the risk of injury. If I want to put 4 plates on them, they'll have no problem doing 4 plates. But as I look at the board, all the things that you see on the board culminates into one thing. You got to run fast. They got to run fast and move well in space. So don't chase individual, strength, whatever. Don't chase numbers here and there. Once a guy gets to, these are football players, other areas it may change. Once a guy can probably get 315 power clean and he can express that 6 sets of 1, bro, I'm good. The guy can go 405, our skill guys, what is 2.5 times their body weight? They can sit down here, pop out the whole fast, I'm good. I don't need to make a video. That's why you don't see no videos of me. I'm not doing YouTube videos of 600 or 700 pounds. What? To do 600 or 700 pounds and have no transfer. That's stupid. That's asinine. You are risking the athlete's health for what kind of gain? Because I can tell you right now, we do use a Kaiser squat as a determinant of power output. And we had a young center. I can squat 700 pounds.
My ass can't get on top of a 22-inch box. What does that mean?
Well, I'm strong. Are you? Does that strength transfer over to the field? So what we do is, got this from the Olympic bobsledders, 300 on the Kaiser. Okay? That's our test weight. What we've found out, and this is science, when you're actually doing the work yourself, not in a lab, but on your floor. We found out we can get majority of our team between 3,000 and 4,000 on the Kaiser with 300 pounds. We're going to be pretty damn explosive. If your squat is 600 and your Kaiser is 2,700, there's a problem with the transfer. There's neuromuscularly, your internal, that twitch ain't happening. Y'all talk twitch about it. I heard the rest of the presenters, twitch, developing twitch. I don't want slow movements all the time. If you stay in slow movements, guess what you're going to end up being? Slow. We need to get that twitch. But here's the next thing, which is incredible. Every guy I've had over 4,000 with 300 pounds, first 2 round draft picks. So I'm saying to myself, from a science perspective, there's something about this transfer of power, this internal fire. So maybe I need let all these strength exercises and all these things chase 2 things: top speed, power output. And if you're doing something just for the numbers, that's cool. Pat yourself on the back, whatever else. This is win and loss. Our lives about wins and losses, man. Let me tell you this: wins and losses. If you got more in the right column than you got in the left column, then I'm gonna be doing this full time because I'm not gonna have a job. It's about having that transfer over to the football field. And I pray that this has been insightful and and not rambling on, but I had to take you that road to just show you exactly how simple these things, measure the things that's going to help you on your field of play. And I can bring in some other cross-training stuff. I hate it, the coach hates it, but I love my guys, linemen especially. Go play basketball. Go play basketball. Where else can you get the level of movement? You're jumping all the time. And I ask in here, and this is what I'm going to as far as my measurements, okay, on my force plates, I could care less if a guy can jump 42. Can he jump 42 back to back to back to back? So I start doing a 3 and 5 jump test because I want to see those elastic capabilities. That's cool, you can come out with power, lineman, you're fine with that. But my skill guys, what's the elastic capabilities? Can I put and touch, and if you don't have a force plate or whatever, a jump mat or whatever else, put some chalk on your finger, jump on the wall. Can he repeated jump and put his chalk on the finger and hit the same place every time? That shows me his elastic capabilities. That's what we want to train. And if you're continually doing heavy weight on your back and all that, it erodes elastic capabilities. That's why you don't find a lot of skill guys. That's why people are moving from in the season, they don't do a lot of squatting because, quite frankly, I can do a lot of ballistic work and get the same work I get out of squatting, period. Really, I can. I don't tell my kids that because I want them to be resilient. I can get some dumbbells, do ballistic work, and I won't lose no more than about 8 to 12% of the total squat max at the end of the season, just by doing ballistic work. There's many ways to skin this cat. The greatest way I want to give you is simple. Now, here's a closer on this thing. This is not something just for football. I hate people when they say it's a football talk or it's a track talk or whatever else. If I am training any power sport athlete, I'm using the same model. Same model. For instance, main turns here. My daughter's a professional volleyball player. You know, she's the tallest one in the house. I don't know how that happened. Still look at the postman and see if he's 6'5". She's a professional volleyball player. And she was in there training with me up there. Sprints, power cleans, all that. Now you say, oh, why do you have a volleyball player doing that? Oh, she has 11-foot touch. And you know how on a 3-step on approach, 11-foot touch on approach. So I don't know if I'm trained like a football player, but hell, something's working. I don't care what it is, and I'll close on this one. I don't care if it's I've had a marathon runner, Abdi Abdurrahman. He was a United States Olympic qualifying for the marathon years back. And you all, anybody in here marathons? Anybody do marathon? One of the marathons, either Boston or New York, the last, 3 miles is uphill? He says, Coach, I get to the last part of the race and I just can't get up that hill. I need to do some speed training with you and some power training. We're doing speed work with our marathoners because it helps them in their frequency and their turnover and speed. So if I'm playing cards, I'm a marathoner, if I'm a swimmer, I don't care what it is. I'm doing speed power training, period. And as simple as what we just went over. Cool. I apologize for not having presentations. If you want to talk about something, call me. Come by. The only problem I have with you coming by is that if I got a group going, you're going to have to get a card and work out a group. That's my fee. And then when I'm finished, then we can sit down and chop it up. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions, please?
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, in reference to your the entire sessions that you run, how long is the warm-up?
Warm-up is about 18 minutes when I have older guys, 18 to 22 minutes. Then probably the run's going to take no more than about 20 minutes, and the rest is going to be about 45 to 50. Usually between an hour and 15, hour and 20, we're done.
I get those guys out of there because it's a mental thing. And one thing about it is the guys don't see the paper and seeing that there's a draft. The only time where it gets longer is on a Monday because we're coming off the weekend and we're coming off a heavy squat day on Friday. So I have to do some things that get us potentiated and get us rolling, okay? But I try not to. Once you get to a certain, and any strength coach can say, once you get past a certain time in the weight room, it's going downhill. You might as well admit it. You can tell them tough it out or whatever else, it's going downhill. And the other thing that I wanted to make sure that we know and understand, and it gets more difficult with the whole NIL stage. And we talk about, you know, I'm a great culture guy and creating that and everything else. But bottom line, at the end of the day, man, you're worried about that money. Bottom line. And we have a value system now that we put on our guys. If you don't get that stuff done in the weight room, that stuff goes to the head coach. And it's like, okay, what's your value? So we want to be like NFL. Let's do it. You got to go see the salary cap guy. You're not hitting this marker. You're not hitting this marker. Okay, you're just not doing what you need to do to better yourself as an athlete. So your value goes down. That becomes now the determining factor now. So I worry about my guys coming in to work out motivated. Hell no. They know what's at stake. You know what I'm saying? Because I can lose a lot real quick by not trying to bust my guy's tail who's beside me trying to take the same position. Just something to throw at you. Anyway.
Thanks, man.